Tiger parenting is a term used to describe a style of strict, demanding parenting, popular within the Chinese community. Every parent wants their child to achieve greatness of some sort, whether it be sports, the arts, or academia, but a tiger parent is a completely different animal. Tiger parents are obsessive with their child's success and push their influence on their children to the extreme. Huei Han Pan and Bich Pan were stereotypical tiger parents. Han had immigrated to Toronto, Canada as a refugee, and his wife Bich followed shortly after. The two married after their arrival in Canada and got jobs working for an auto parts manufacturer. By the late 80s, they had two children, Jennifer and Felix. Jennifer's parents set many goals for their children and had extremely high expectations of them. Jennifer was made to take piano lessons at the age of 4, as well as figure skating classes, where she trained most days during the week. She had hopes of becoming an Olympic figure skating champion until she tore a ligament in her knee. Jennifer attended Mary Ward Catholic Secondary School, where she played the flute in the school band. According to her high school friend Karen K. Ho, Han was seen as the classic tiger dad, and Bich was his reluctant accomplice. The Pans picked Jennifer up when classes ended each day and monitored her extracurricular activities very closely. They never permitted her to date boys while attending high school or to attend high school dances out of fear that these activities would distract her from her academic commitments. Jennifer was not permitted to attend any parties during the time her parents believed she was attending university. At the age of 22, she had never gone to a club, been drunk, visited a friend's cottage or gone on vacation without her family. The pressure on Jennifer was immense, more than a girl in her early teens could handle. She told her friends that she would just put on her happy mask, but deep down she was suffering and began cutting her forearms with tiny cuts. Despite her parents' high expectations that Jennifer receive good grades in lower school, her grades throughout high school were somewhat average, in the 70% range, except for music. She forged report cards multiple times using false templates, deceiving her parents into thinking she earned straight A's. When Jennifer failed calculus class in grade 12, Ryerson University rescinded her early admission. As she could not bear to be perceived as a failure, she began to lie to those she knew, including her parents, and pretended she was attending university. Instead, she sat in cafes, taught as a piano instructor, and worked in a restaurant to earn money. In order to maintain the charade, Jennifer told her parents she had won scholarships, later falsely claiming that she had accepted an offer into the pharmacology program at the University of Toronto. She went to the extent of purchasing second-hand textbooks and watching videos related to pharmacology in order to create notebooks full of purported class notes that she could show her parents. Jennifer also requested permission from her parents to stay near the campus with a friend throughout the week. She was actually staying with her boyfriend, Daniel Kai Kwon Wong, whom she had met in high school. He was of mixed Chinese and Filipino ancestry, resided in Ajax, and worked at a Boston pizza restaurant. Wong, once a student at Mary Ward, transferred to Cardinal Carter Academy in North York, Toronto due to low grades, and later studied at York University. He was an active marijuana dealer. While pretending to complete her degree at the University of Toronto, Pan told her parents that she had started working as a volunteer at the hospital for sick children. Han and Bich soon became suspicious when they realized she did not have a hospital ID badge or uniform. On one occasion, Bich followed her daughter to work and quickly discovered her deception. In a state of shock, Han wanted to throw Jennifer out of the house, but her mother persuaded him to allow her to stay. As she had not completed high school due to failing calculus, she eventually began working to finish high school completely and was later encouraged by her parents to apply to university. She was, however, forbidden to contact Wong or to go anywhere except for her piano teaching job. Nevertheless, she and Wong spoke secretly during this period. By the time Jennifer was 24, Wong had grown weary of trying to pursue a relationship with her, as Jennifer was so daunted and restricted by her parents that she lived at home and only met him in secret. Wong broke off his relationship with Jennifer and began to date another young woman. After learning of the new relationships, Pan claimed to Wong that a man had entered her house, showing what appeared to be a police badge, after which several men had rushed in and gang raped her. She claimed that after this, a bullet was mailed to her and that both of these events were orchestrated by Wang's new girlfriend. By the spring of 2010, Jennifer had had enough. Her father was tearing her life apart and she wanted it to end. She wanted her parents dead. In high school she had heard stories of a boy named Andrew Montemer. The rumor was that he had robbed people at knife point and had once considered killing his own father. She contacted Montemer, but he wouldn't have anything to do with her plan, but told her that his roommate Ricardo Duncan might be interested. According to Jennifer, she paid him $1,500 that she had earned from teaching piano, but then never heard from him again. Hann and Wang were back in contact at this time and, according to the police, came up with a plan to hire a professional hitman for $10,000 to kill her parents, calculating that she would then inherit $500,000. They planned to move in together. Wang connected Pan with a man, Lenford Roy Crawford, Jamaican-born, whom he called Homeboy, and gave her a SIM card and an iPhone so that she could contact Crawford without using her usual cell phone. Crawford contacted another man, named Eric Sean Sniper Carty, who in turn contacted Montreal-born David Mulvaganam. Crawford lived in Brampton and Mulvaganam lived in Toronto, while Carty, who previously lived in Rexdale, Toronto, at the time did not have a fixed residence. The Crown prosecution stated that Mulvaganam was one of the hitmen. Carty was later found responsible for an unrelated murder, and journalist Grimaldi stated that Carty was a repeat violent offender. The murder took place at the Pan House in Unionville neighborhood in Markham, Ontario. On November 8, 2010, Pan unlocked the front door of the family home when she went to bed, then spoke by phone to Mulvaganam. Shortly afterwards, Mulvaganam and two other people entered the home through the unlocked front door, all carrying guns. After demanding all the money in the house and ransacking the main bedroom, the three men took Bich and Hann to the basement where they shot them multiple times. Bich was killed, but Hann survived his wounds. The three men then took all the cash that was in the house, including $2,000 from Pan, and left. Pan claimed that they tied her up, but that she managed to free her hands and dial 911. Pan was treated at Markham Stouffville Hospital before being moved to a trauma unit at Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto by aircraft. The evening after the murder, Pan underwent her first interview with the police. Pan was arrested on November 22, 2010 during her third interview at the Markham Police Station, 5 District of York Regional Police. During that interview, Pan admitted that she had hired the killers, but claimed that she hired them to kill her and not her parents. The interrogating police officer, William Bill Getz, falsely told Pan that he had computer software that could analyze untruths in statements and that there were satellites that used infrared technology to analyze movements in buildings. Getz had used the Reed technique to obtain Pan's confession. Mulvaganam was arrested at the Jane Finch Mall in North York, Toronto on April 14, 2011. Carty was arrested at the prison he was held in, Maplehurst Correctional Complex in Melton, Ontario, on April 15, 2011. Wang was arrested on April 26, 2011, at his place of employment. Crawford was the final suspect arrested, entering custody on May 4, 2011, in Brampton. The trial of Pan and her accomplices began on March 19, 2014, in Newmarket and continued for 10 months. Both pleaded not guilty to the charges of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit murder. At the trial, York Regional Police evidence included exhaustive tracking of the mobile device movements and text message traffic, including over 100 messages sent between Pan and Wang in the 6 hours prior to the killing. Further evidence centered around the atypical nature of the break-in, robbery, shootings, and irregularities in Pan's testimony. Pan's obsession with Wang, her lack of true emotion and a confession regarding the attack and recognition of the trauma she underwent were also detailed. The major irregularity was that Pan was not assaulted, blindfolded, taken to the basement, nor shot, leaving behind an eyewitness to the attack. Evidence from Hann, which differed greatly from Pan's version, also undermined her credibility. The trial included over 200 exhibits, over 50 witnesses testified at the trial. Hann, Wang, Mulvaganam, and Crawford were all convicted on December 13, 2014, and each received a life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years. In December 2015, Cardi received an 18-year sentence after pleading guilty to conspiring to commit murder, with eligibility for parole after 9 years. Jennifer Pan was sentenced to life with no chance of parole for 25 years for the murder of her mother and attempted murder of her father. Pan's father and brother requested a court order that banned her from ever contacting members of her surviving family again. Despite the objections of the defense lawyers, the judge filed the order. Pan is also banned from ever contacting Wong again. As of 2016, Pan was serving her sentence at the Grand Valley Institution for Women in Kitchener, Ontario. Wong, previously held in Lindsay, Ontario, was at Collins Bay Institution in Kingston, Ontario. Mulvaganam was at Atlantic Institution in Renouse, New Brunswick. Crawford was at Kent Institution in Agassiz, British Columbia. Cardi, who requested to go to a federal prison in Western Canada or Atlantic Canada, was still at the provincial Millhaven Assessment Unit, awaiting his transfer to a federal prison. Cardi, who later moved to Kent, died in his cell on April 26, 2018. Bich's funeral was held on November 15, 2010, and took place at the Ogden Chapel in Scarborough. Bich was buried on November 19. Her father, Hann Pan, could not attend due to his injuries. Hann Pan still suffers with his injuries and is unable to work. He released a statement after the trial which read, "When I lost my wife, I lost my daughter at the same time. I don't feel like I have a family anymore. Some say I should feel lucky to be alive, but I feel like I am dead too. I hope my daughter Jennifer thinks about what has happened to her family and can become a good honest person someday."